So children, we are going to talk about the special kind of the oxidation and reduction reaction now, and that is called as the redox reaction. Now, what exactly do you understand by the redox reaction? In the reaction in which the oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is called as a redox reaction. दोनों चीजें एक साथ होंगी, ऑक्सीडेशन भी होगा और रिडक्शन भी होगा. इस प्रकार के रिएक्शंस को हम रिडॉक्स रिएक्शन कहते हैं. चलिए इसके कुछ एग्जांपल्स देख लेते हैं. तो एग्जांपल्स होगा जैसे like if you have got this copper oxide. Now this copper oxide, if it is reacted with hydrogen, so you take copper oxide, heat it, pass hydrogen over it. So what you will be getting? The black colored copper oxide will now convert into brownish red copper metal, and you also will get some steam which is coming out in form of water. Now what has happened to this copper oxide? From this copper oxide, oxygen is removed and it has become copper. Right? So that means the reduction has taken place, oxygen is removed. So this is called as the reduction, right? Now what happens to the hydrogen? Now the hydrogen has gained oxygen which is lost by the copper oxide. So here the oxidation has taken place. So oxygen is added. So it is called as the oxidation reactions. Now the copper oxide, you can see it is changed into copper. Oxygen is removed from copper oxide and copper oxide is, so it is called as, it is reduction. Copper oxide is reduced to copper, right? Okay, now what happened to hydrogen here? The hydrogen is now changed to hydrogen oxide, which is basically water beta. Water में हाइड्रोजन में ऑक्सीजन को ऐड कर दिया है, so hydrogen is oxidized to water. So this reaction, you have got both oxidation and reduction taking place simultaneously. So this reaction is called as redox reaction. Now we will here talk about the oxidizing agent and the reducing agent. Now what do you understand by the oxidizing agent? See, oxidizing agent is something which provides oxygen. And what is reducing agent? Reducing agent is something which we can say that it takes out oxygen from the object or the substance, or it adds hydrogen to it. Okay, so here in this reaction, just now we saw copper oxide is giving oxygen. Copper oxide is giving oxygen, so this is called as an oxidizing agent. And what about the definition? The definition says that the substance which gives oxygen for oxidation is called as the oxidizing agent. Now what about hydrogen? The hydrogen is one which removes oxygen, which takes oxygen from somebody else. So that you can see here the hydrogen is removing oxygen from copper oxide. So this is called as the reducing agent. Right? The substance which remove oxygen from the other substance is called as the reducing agent. Now you can see one thing. The oxidizing agent is getting reduced. And what is happening to the reducing agent? It is getting oxidized. Right? So you can see that the one which provides oxygen is called as the oxidizing agent. Ones which takes out the oxygen, it is called as the reducing agent. Oxidizing agent get reduced and the reducing agent will get oxidized, right? Now this is clear? Okay, let us move on to the next slide. Now here we can say that the next example we are taking is of barium sulfate. Now barium sulfate is now added to carbon. Carbon reduces barium sulfate to barium sulfide. Sulfate, SO4 is sulfate. Sulfate, let me put it that way. And barium sulfide, BAS, that is called a sulfide, right? So this is, we can see, and the carbon ka kya hota hai? The carbon is converted into carbon monoxide, very dangerous gas, right? Which is very, very dangerous gas. So that we will talk about later. I'll tell you this. Now you can see that this barium sulfate, when reacts with carbon, Now in this, let me first balance. I want here I am having 4 oxygen and here having carbon monoxide, which will not be balanced. So I put 4 here inside near the carbon and 4 in carbon monoxide. You can see that this is balanced now. What you can see here, this barium sulfate is reduced to barium sulfide. Oxygen is removed, right? So reduction has taken place. What happens to carbon now? The carbon now takes up this 4 oxygen which is given out of this barium sulfate and becomes carbon monoxide. So you can say oxygen is added. So oxidation reaction has taken place. Right? So this reaction, you can see that the oxidation has happened and the reduction has happened. Now you tell me which is the oxidizing agent and which is the reducing agent. Yes, barium sulfate is called as the oxidizing agent because it is giving you the oxygen. And carbon is the reducing agent because it is taking the oxygen from the barium sulfate. So it is oxidized to carbon monoxide. And what about barium sulfate? Barium sulfate is reduced to barium sulfide, right? Oxidizing agent is reduced and reducing agent is oxidized, right? So that is very important to understand, right? Now let us take another example. In this example, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the zinc oxide, right? Zinc oxide is an oxide of zinc, and when you like actually we go to the mines and dig out the zinc oxide from the mines, you get it in the form of zinc carbonate or zinc sulfide, which is then converted into zinc sulfide, and you are going to get zinc metal out of it, right? So you get zinc. This is actually the industrial process, very interesting to note. है ना, इससे हम लोग zinc बनाएंगे. So zinc oxide में क्या मिलाना है? Zinc oxide में again carbon मिला दो. कार्बन इज अ रिड्यूसिंग एजेंट, वी ऑल नो. अब क्या होता है रिएक्शन में, जिंक ऑक्साइड में से ऑक्सीजन चला गया, कार्बन उसकी ऑक्सीजन को ले लिया. सो यू कैन सी दैट द जिंक ऑक्साइड is reduced to zinc because oxygen is lost and carbon gets converted into carbon monoxide, so it gets oxidized. So carbon is oxidized to carbon monoxide. So here we can see again the oxidation and reduction has taken place simultaneously. So this is an example of redox reaction, right? And here you can see this zinc oxide provides oxygen, so it is the oxidizing agent, and carbon takes away the oxygen from zinc oxide, so that is the reducing agent, right? Now with these examples, I think you must be clear about this oxidation as well as the reduction. Now another example, manganese oxide. Manganese oxide again reacts with hydrochloric acid. So what happens here? This manganese oxide becomes manganese chloride, and this hydrogen chloride, that is hydrochloric acid, gets converted into water. So what is happening here? Again, we also get chlorine gas which is let out. Now what we can see here, we are going to balance this. We have to put 4 HCl because you have got 2 chlorine here and 2 chlorine here atoms. So I have to make it balanced to get 4. I put 4 here. Now this is balanced. Manganese 1, oxygen 2. So you get oxygen here. इसमें तो एक ही है. So what you should do, again you have to balance this. You have to put 2 H2O. So you have got 2 oxygen here, 2 oxygen here, 4 hydrogen out here, and 4 hydrogen out here, 4 chlorine atoms here. So 2 plus 2, again it has 4 now, so it is balanced. And now I'm going to talk about the oxidation as well as the reduction. Manganese dioxide, as you can see, is losing oxygen to gain the chlorine. So you can see that here manganese oxide is reduced to manganese chloride. Hydrochloric acid is like losing chlorine and gaining oxygen. So here gain of oxygen, so it is oxidation. Now let me know which is the oxidizing agent and which is the reducing agent. Yes, 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 come on. Good. Now the next is we have to show you also, others who have not understood, MnO2 is the oxidizing agent जो oxygen दे रहा है, and this hydrochloric acid is the reducing agent because वो oxygen को ले रहा है, right? So now This is another example of the redox reaction. Why? Because this oxidation and reduction is taking place simultaneously.